soñamos. I'm Ashley,
I'm Sammie.
and this is a podcast where we talk about everything dream related. You guys know the drill. I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you guys for coming back and listening to this new episode. Sammie, how have you been? Anything new?
I've been good. I've went back to school. My break is over.
Okay.
So that's been fun.
Has it?
um, it hasn't. It's been a little bit of a struggle, but other
But you're
than
pushing
that,
through.
everything's yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal.
How
Other than that,
long is your class?
thank you for interrupting me. Jesus.
How long is your class?
My classes are always 8 weeks long.
8 weeks. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. How have
Well,
you
you got
been?
this.
Thank
I've
you.
been good. I've been good. No drastic changes. Let's see. Work is good. Might be
Mhm.
questionable the next time we record, but work is good right now.
Why is that?
Okay, so work has been great ever since I switched back accounts, right?
Uh-huh.
Like to my happy place, right?
Okay.
Well, I work for a transportation company that has a contract with a retailer, right? And I work like in that retailer's warehouse, whatever, right? Well, that retailer is starting their own fleet of trucks, right?
Smart.
So it means that so they're going to be covering like half of the stores, right? With their own
Mm-hmm.
fleet.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, there's my company and then two other transportation companies that work out of the same warehouse, right? Because this retailer has been just using other people for their transportation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, once they come in and take over half of their stores, there's only going to be one transportation company left. And like each company has to like bid on the package of stores. And then,
Yeah.
they choose which company they're going to give it to. So
Mm-hmm.
if we get it, perfect. Nothing changes. Still super happy, right? If we don't get it, it means that I won't really have like a home um with the company. Like I'll still be the same title, still be making the same money, but like I won't really have like a specific place that I work at. And like that means that like whenever there's an account that needs somebody to fill in or whatever, like I might end up having to work somewhere that's like an hour away from my house. You know what I mean? So I really don't
Mm-hmm.
want that to happen. But I'm pretty confident we can secure the bag, and that nothing will change. Besides that, my wife and I started playing pickleball last week, and we've been playing with some friends. And like, I hate to say it, I know pickleball is like this whole like, oh, I want to do pickleball, right? But it's fun, and I really like playing it. So we bought our own little paddles and stuff, and now I'm like every day like, can we go play pickleball? Can we go play pickleball?
That's good. That's so
Um,
funny. I When you told me, I think it was last week, you were
did I tell
like,
you?
yeah, and I had asked you something. I was like, hey, are you busy or whatever?
Oh yes.
And then you're like, oh, I'm playing pickleball. And I was like, you're playing pickleball? Like,
Why?
completely shocked.
Well, there's this place. I don't know if they have it over there called Chicken and Pickle, which is basically like
No.
I guess so. It's like a restaurant, right? And then they have
Uh-huh.
like pickleball courts, right? That you like book out a slot or whatever, right? So it's like this cute little thing that you can go to, right? But then we were all like, this is actually fun. So like almost all the tennis courts have the outline as well for the pickleball because it's the
Mhm.
same court. Um, so we've just been playing at random tennis courts, and then my wife was like, I might just do like book a party at that place for her birthday that's later this month. And I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it. Let's go play some
Uh-huh.
pickleball.
Yes. You guys could
But
have a tourney. That's cool.
yeah, we could do a tournament. Okay, but no, I almost like passed out the other day because like I've been like back on my trying to like do good every day with what I eat, right? Taking my
Mm-hmm.
medicine and whatnot, right? And so for like a week or so, I wasn't eating a lot because I wasn't hungry, right? Which is what like the medicine's supposed to help you do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this past Thursday or whenever it was that we went to go play pickleball, We went to this neighborhood, to their little tennis courts, and I had eaten like a little half sandwich from Walmart. Like their sandwiches are really good. And then on the way there, I we stopped at Chick-fil-A, and I just got like one of their fillets, like not the sandwich, like just the chicken, right? And
Mhm.
I guess that's all I had eaten that day, right? So we were playing and it was hot, right? And then like about halfway through, I started feeling like I couldn't keep up with my head, right? Like, or like my head was
Mhm.
trying to catch up with my body, right? And so after like every point, I'd be like, okay, taking a break, right? Until like almost to the end, like I'm taking a break and I'm like, I can't go back because like I seriously feel like I might pass out, right? Um,
Mhm.
and my wife's friend's a nurse, and she's like, "Are you okay? Like, are you okay?" I'm like, "Okay, I'm okay." So they finished the game really quick, and then we went to go eat, and then I felt better.
Your
But
trigger was dropping.
yeah, she gave me some some gummy bears or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah.
and then like I was like, yeah, I guess I need to eat more because like by that time I had already burned more calories than what I had eaten that day. So I'm like, I know I need to do better. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you guys, but it was the first time I ever felt like I couldn't like keep up with my head. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
lesson learned. I won't do that again.
Mhm.
All right. Well, we ready to jump in here?
Yeah.
All right. So today's topic is self awareness. Okay.
Yeah.
And Sammie here is the one that brought this topic to the table.
I did?
You were like, we should do one on self awareness. And I was like, okay. So last night I did take a few notes, okay? I
Okay.
wanted to do a little bit of research just so like I didn't come in here completely like lost. All right. So
We're
we're gonna
all a
start.
little lost. It's okay.
That's very true. We're gonna start off with how I like to start off, which is the what definition of self awareness.
Okay.
All right. It is the conscious knowledge of one's own character, feelings, motives, and desires. Right?
Mhm.
So it's like knowing who you are.
Can I hold on? I'm so sorry.
No, go
Can I
ahead.
just say, like, I love the bruntness of that definition. Like, it makes it seem so easy to attain.
Well, a definition can't really be a whole paragraph long, 500 words. They
I
got to give
guess
you the
that's
cliff
true.
notes. The definition is the cliff notes, and then you got to, because then you have to dissect what's character, what's feelings, motives, whatever, right?
Exactly. Anyways,
So,
continue.
so yes, so it's obviously like being self aware, being knowing who you are, right? So like that. So like I'm gonna start
Mhm.
off with. I mean, let me ask you: Are you self aware of yourself? Yeah.
Oh, we're hitting heavy today. No, I'm just kidding. Um, I am self-aware in certain aspects of my life. I
Mhm.
know what I want out of my
Mhm.
life, right? I know
Mhm.
who I am.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know who I'm going to be.
Mhm.
Sometimes I struggle with identifying my emotions. I
Mhm.
tend to like block them out. Not
Mhm.
block them out, but like I push them back until I have the time to like actually deal and process them. I
Mhm.
compartmentalize a lot.
Mhm.
Um, and I feel like that's something that I have to work on. I have to be able to uh deal with those emotions like from the jump or like when they're
Mhm.
happening. Just because I feel like sometimes when I compartmentalize, by the time that I get the opportunity to do that, I don't feel them as strongly. And then
Okay.
so I end up getting over them fairly quickly and I'm like, I wonder if I fully processed it or not.
Mhm.
I mean, like I'm
Okay.
aware of myself and I'm aware of like when I'm feeling the things or like those
Mhm.
emotions. But I think for me, the biggest thing is like dealing with them.
Dealing with them.
So, yeah.
Okay. You
Hmm.
said you know who you are, but not who you want to be.
Hmm.
How? Like you don't
Mhm.
think about who you want to be in the future, like what Sammy
No,
looks
I
like in the future.
do. I
Mhm.
do. Um, ugh, hitting heavy.
I'm sorry.
um, I go through like this. I go through this moment of like, do I want to be this career driven, focused female, or
Okay.
do I want to have that traditional wife, mom ideology?
Mhm.
For the way that I am, it's gonna take a lot for me to handle both because I know that
Mhm.
I want to devote time to kids and all of
Mhm.
that and my family, but I also know that like if I were to choose the path of like being a career woman, I would that would also take a lot of my time. And so
Mhm.
figuring out a way that I can do both in a way that's effective and still
Mhm.
meeting the expectations that I have for myself in both of those fields
Mhm.
is kind of where I struggle.
So
And that's
yeah,
where
you
I'm
feel like
like,
it's a lot, yeah, to carry.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
You know,
heavy. I'm telling you.
when I think of if I'm self-aware, I mean, you said some of the stuff that I feel the same way as far as like, well, I feel like I know who I want to become
hmm
and less of understanding who I am now and what I have to do to become who I want to become, right? Because like I feel like I even bought a journal, right, that I wanted to dedicate to just like ways that are going to help me better myself, right? Um
hmm
but I feel like I struggle with making the connection of this is how I am at this, at this, at this, at this, and like how to better myself in those ways, right? Because like as
hmm
I'm sure I've said before, I think about the future a lot, right? So when I think about like,
hmm
oh, like 10 years from now, like I want to do this and this and this and this, like I can picture, I can understand that that's who I want to become, right? But then how do I get there is where I kind of
hmm
get lost with like the steps to take. And I feel like I'm not fully self aware of every way that I am. If that makes sense. Like I feel like I know who I am, but that there's things that like I don't understand about myself. And I don't really know
hmm
how to start the process of discovering them. So like if someone doesn't feel like they are self-aware or doesn't know if they are self-aware,
hmm
right? What are ways that you
hmm
think that you can like kind of cross reference or check, well, if I'm aware of this, I know that I'm self-aware, or like how do we get to that point of becoming self-aware?
Um, I think it depends on your belief system.
Mhm.
A big thing is like I believe Buddhism. I think it's
Mhm.
Buddhism. Correct me if
Mhm.
I'm wrong, y'all. But like, um, they're the ones that focus a lot on meditation. And
Mhm.
so like they say that meditation is a way to bring in your self awareness.
Mhm.
Because like when you're meditating, you're supposed to be like connecting with yourself, right?
Mhm.
In that space, right?
Mhm.
And like even if you let your mind wander, you're aware that your mind is wandering, and so you bring it back if it wanders too far. Do you get
Mhm.
what I mean?
Yes.
Because
But go ahead, cuz I want you to finish that cuz like I go ahead, go ahead.
okay, um, meditation is a
Mhm.
big one, but I think that
Mhm.
meditation needs to come after you've done the work, right? So if you have these questions about yourself, you have these questions about who you are, and like you have these, you don't know how to identify like your emotions and like healthy
Mhm.
ways to process them,
Mhm.
then I think you need to go to therapy. I mean, and that's
Mhm.
again, this is not therapeutic advice. This is not me saying like, hey, this is what you need to do.
Mhm.
Full
Mhm.
disclaimer.
Mhm.
It's just it's really hard to sit there and try to focus when you have 150 things running around in your head because
Mhm.
you're worried if you're doing it right or not.
Mhm.
Um, I think the meditation part comes once you've identified who you are, what you believe in, and like you're able to recognize those emotions within yourself and like
Mhm.
process them in a healthy way.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did. Well, I was gonna ask about the meditation, which I understand that you're saying it should come like after the fact of like this
Mm-hmm.
discovery phase, right? But I guess I never really understand. I don't want to say how meditation works, but
Mm-hmm.
okay, it's not that I don't understand what you should be doing to meditate, but don't really understand the effect, like how it ends up working or what it's supposed to do. What is meditation supposed to do?
Mm-hmm.
What is it supposed to do?
Okay. So meditation allows you to just be within yourself, right? It
Mhm.
allows you to just focus in on you.
Mhm.
It gives you the time to like just relax. That's it.
Mhm.
You're not worried about anything, nothing's in your mind. It's just you're connected with your body and that's it.
Mhm.
Because like thinking about it, how many times do you feel throughout the week that you're like, how the hell did I get here at the end of the day?
Mhm.
What
Mhm.
happened throughout my day? Right?
Mhm.
And meditation allows us to kind of just be like, in this moment, in this time frame, I am here
Mhm.
with myself and I am
Mhm.
in this space to just relax. I don't have anything in my mind. I'm not thinking about anything. And the things that I am thinking about are things that have like been bothering me or whatever. It depends.
Mhm.
I think everybody's meditation is different. For
Mhm.
me, um, when I meditate, I don't meditate often, but when I
Mhm.
do, it's because I'm very overwhelmed and I have this impeding crisis on my mind that I'm just like,
Mhm.
I need to think about this in a
Mhm.
space where it's just me.
Okay.
Hmm.
So you kind of like, so meditation's supposed to have the effect of being able to just kind of like have you stop and focus in on like
Be
one
present.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I did also like look up a few ways to like start or help being self-aware, right? And meditation was one of them, right? I can't say that I meditate, right? um but meditation was one of them, and then journaling was also one of
Journaling.
them.
Hmm.
Identifying your values, knowing
Hmm.
your triggers, and practicing
Hmm.
self-discipline, um
Hmm.
all came up as
And
ways
that's
to help.
and that's why I say like you need to do the therapeutic work first before you
Mhm.
start on some of the other things, or
Mhm.
you can do like them uh side by side, right? And there's a special
Mhm.
word that I was going to use but I couldn't think of it.
Congruent.
Um
Parallel.
congruent. Congruent is opposite, homie.
Um, you're talking about like, wait, no, wait, no, because I'm thinking about when you serve like two prison sentences like at the same time.
That's back to back.
Congruence back to back.
Congruent is not back to back.
It's
Congruent is like
consecutively is back to back.
consecutively is like this happens and this happens and this happens. So like
What were you saying about things that go side by side? Oh, you're saying that you should focus on like these other
so
steps, but
the reason why I say that you should do the therapeutic work first, how many times did I start the sentence?
mm-hmm,
Um
not
is
enough.
um because you have to be able to identify those things first, right?
Mm-hmm,
And so if you're unaware of those things, of what triggers you, of what your values are, of identifying your emotions, right?
mm-hmm,
Then you're not going to be able to really be self-aware. And
mm-hmm,
sometimes, I'm not saying that everybody needs to go to therapy, But sometimes people need that other person to be like, hey, like I'm noticing that this is popping up for you a lot in your life, and I'm
Mhm.
seeing these behaviors consistently or these reactions consistently. Could this be a trigger? Could
Mhm.
this be a traumatic response? Could this
Mhm.
be this? And then you're like, huh, I get it, right?
Okay.
Or even when it comes to the values, right? When working with clients, I see too that like they get upset over something specific, right? And I'm
Mhm.
like, this seems like a really important topic for you.
Mhm.
Can we explore it?
Mhm.
Why is it so important to you? And then so they then begin to identify their values and things like that.
So is how do you go about identifying your values? Just thinking about what's important to you, like
Mm-hmm.
what you want to stand for,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
then you kind of have to base your actions to correspond with what your values are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, or do you self reflect just like maybe like once a month, once a year? Do you feel like it's a thing that keeps going over and over? Or like you self
Mm-hmm.
reflected, now you know the answers, now you just keep going?
I think in the beginning it was more intensive
Mm
of like what mattered to me, and I had to take time, in therapy,
hmm. Mm hmm.
um, back in the day.
Mm hmm.
Um, the first time that I had ever gone. Um, it was hard,
Mm
right?
hmm.
Because I was like, I know that I want to participate in the healing of others' journey.
Mm hmm.
But in order to do that, I need to work on the things that are wrong
Mm hmm.
with me.
Mm hmm.
Um, and so having that other person to talk to about like, this is what's important to me, this is what I value, um, was beneficial for me.
Mm
And
hmm.
then it's making sure that now it looks like, am I still holding on to these values? Have my values changed? And if
Okay.
they've changed, do we need to reevaluate the other ones,
Mm
right? Or
hmm.
does this affect who I am as a person whole, or does it just add to it?
Mm hmm.
Um, yeah.
Do you feel like
But
your
taking
values
the,
have changed?
I think so.
Mm hmm.
I think so. I think, when I first started therapy the first time, I kind of took on this role of like, I don't know, I think I was a bit childish.
Okay.
I was immature, right?
Okay.
The first time that I had ever gone to counseling, I was 18, 19, and I was just like naive at what I felt was important to me, um, and what I felt was representative of me. And I think now as an adult, yes, I'm an adult, guys. It's almost like 10 years later.
Finally.
OMG. I'm still growing.
Aren't we all? We all are.
um, and I think now it's more so of like pieces of things that are important to me.
Okay.
I feel like as a youth,
Hmm. As a
as a
youngling.
youth, as a youngling, I kind of did like the umbrella things, right?
Hmm.
Of like, oh, friendship, family, blah blah blah, right? And
Right, right,
now
right,
it's
right.
like,
Kind of what like you're supposed to say.
yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's like, no, I value like honesty. I value,
Mhm.
commitment is a big
Mhm.
thing for me.
Mhm.
And consistency is a
Mhm.
huge thing for me. I value people who allow me to be, when it comes to like the honesty, allowing, you're sleepy? You need
Mm-mm.
some coffee?
No, no, I don't drink coffee.
So sad.
You
See,
value
Ashley's still growing
honesty.
too because she's not.
Oh
She
my
doesn't
gosh,
drink coffee.
this isn't a coffee conversation. I drink coffee sometimes. It just has to not taste like coffee.
Okay. Yeah, like with the honesty, it's like allow people who allow me to be me, right? It's
Okay.
not just like you're telling me the truth. It's
Mhm.
more so of like you're holding the space in order for me to be myself, and
Okay.
you're allowing me to do that without judgment, without ridicule or anything.
Mhm.
You
Do
know?
you feel like since you're self-aware, it has helped you continue to pursue your goals, or like how has being self-aware overlapped with pursuing your goals?
Mhm. So I think it allows me to identify when I'm feeling overwhelmed.
Okay.
Um, I think specifically like just this year, most recently, um, I was feeling overwhelmed and I was like, I need a break. I know I need a break. But then not taking that break until 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
Um,
You pushed yourself a
I
little bit
knew
too
that I
much.
needed it. Yeah, I think I waited too long
Mhm.
and I knew that I needed it early on and I didn't take the time to do that. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, I think that's the way that it affects me. And also like at work, I don't know how my coworkers feel about it, but we have like group supervision where we all
Mhm.
talk about like what's been going on with us and our
Mhm.
cases. And I'm very, very honest about like how I feel these cases are treating me and like or how they're reacting to me
Right.
and like being reflective of like maybe I should have approached a situation differently or maybe I should have had a different approach for this client over this one. And like in those spaces I feel like I talk too much.
Mhm.
Just because I feel like nobody else shares. But like I'm also like, no, but this is the space that I'm allowed to do this, right? I'm allowed
Right.
to ask for feedback and question and things like that. So it
Right.
allows me to stay not consistent, but like um aware,
Mhm.
obviously, of
Mhm.
like how I'm reacting or interacting with clients and identifying if maybe this client would not be a good fit for me and maybe we need to like readjust that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So self awareness helps with all of that.
So,
And I think it also helps in friendships.
yeah. How so?
um, I think just like being being honest, okay. Like being honest with you is
Uh-huh.
a big one, right? Like
Mhm.
when I think this year, I don't know what it is about this year.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I feel like I've been more honest with you about how I feel when things are not going my way or like
Okay. Mhm.
I'm struggling or whatever.
Mhm.
And like being able to like lean into that space and being like, this is where I'm at. I need you to like
Yeah.
talk me down or like rein me in or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, is good.
So, what do you think it is within us that, like you said, that you knew you needed a break, right? Because you're really
Mm-hmm.
overwhelmed, right? So, what is it
Mm-hmm.
within us that is overpowering your self awareness of like, I need to push pause for a little bit, and you kept going until like you almost reached a point of like no return, let's say, right? So, like,
Yeah.
why? What is it that was like, I know you need to do this, but you're not gonna do that?
Um, I think it's different for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I will speak for myself only in this sense. The reason why I chose to wait so long is because I thought that I could do it and I was determined to do so.
Mm-hmm.
Ashley, you're so tired.
I'm not tired. I promise. I promise. I'm so sorry.
So you're bored.
No, no, no. Stop. Stop bringing attention to it. I have to edit this all out.
No, no,
I'm not
absolutely not.
tired. I promise I'm not
Um,
tired.
okay, liar. Anyways, um, what was I saying?
You said you
For
thought you
me
could do it.
specifically,
Mhm.
um, I don't like the feeling of quitting.
Mhm.
And I felt like in the time that I needed the break, I felt like I wasn't going to go back. And so
Okay.
that scared me
Okay.
because I was like, if I take the break now,
Mhm.
I'm not coming back.
Okay.
And I had to find my joy in it before I took the break. So like that when I came
Okay.
back from the break, I was somewhat more able to deal with it, you
Yeah,
know?
you kind of left on a high note. Like, okay, I'm gonna come back to
Yes,
this.
I
Yeah.
did.
Okay.
Exactly. And then I came back and I'm back right now and I'm just like, why am I back? Um, but like you and I have had that conversation about why I may be. feeling that
Mhm.
way.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay, so I know we talked about how you being self-aware helps you follow your goals, right? How do you feel, or do you feel that it's necessary for people that are trying to achieve a dream, follow a dream, right? To be
Hmm.
self-aware. Do you think that it's a necessary step to, which this is going to sound crazy because it sounds obvious. Do you think it's necessary to know who you are in order to know what you want? Like, how do you think
Um,
that becoming self-aware actually helps you in the journey to following your dreams?
I think it allows us to kind of identify when we need a break or when we need to push,
Mhm.
right? It um it allows us to identify when we feel like we're overwhelmed and when we feel like we are at our breaking point, right?
Mhm.
It also allows us to maintain our values, right?
Mhm.
That's a big thing. If I'm pursuing my dream is supposed to align, not supposed to, but like it's highly encouraged to align with my values, right? Because I care about this so much. I'm passionate about this. This is my dream
Mhm.
because of, in a sense, your values. And
Mhm.
so I do think that it's important. Now, granted,
Mhm.
there might be some people out there that are successful and that have achieved their dreams without being self-aware, and
Mhm.
that's their prerogative, and
Mhm.
that's up to them. I think for me, fully in where I was and where I am right now, I do think that it's important for me to be self-aware,
Mhm.
especially in the work that I do. You know, I have to be able to be in line and check of my emotions before I go and help somebody else.
Mhm.
You know, kind of
Mhm.
practicing what I'm preaching.
Mhm.
Um, but I think everybody is different, and I
Mhm.
don't think that there is a, you hear me say it all the time, like it, one answer isn't the same answer
Yeah,
for
one
everybody.
size fits all. Yeah.
Everybody. Hmm.
Mhm. Okay.
Exactly.
Do you feel like there would be a reason that some people kind of like don't want to reflect on themselves, don't want to discover like who they are? Like, what do you think? Why do you think? What do you think might be a cause for some people to
Hmm.
want to kind of be like, no, I don't want to go there.
I think it has to do with like the accountability, right?
Mhm.
When we become self aware, we're also recognizing the behaviors, the good and the bad ones that we do, right? And the
Mhm.
way that we interact with people.
Mhm.
And so sometimes a big deter is like having to face the fact that in this situation you were a shitty person, right?
Mhm.
Um, but also it has like a lot of honesty, right? So if we have a relationship or a past that was very traumatic for us, we have to process all of those things in order for us to
Mhm.
identify like this is a trigger for me. This is something that I value. This is something that I'm not going to let go of
Mhm.
because of my past. I know that this is important to me. Things like
Mhm.
that, right? So
Mhm.
in becoming self-aware, we have to be very open and honest with ourselves. We have
Mhm.
to even open up the wounds that we've already closed and we thought we didn't have to open ever again, right?
Mhm.
And having those conversations with somebody can be very difficult. It's a stranger, you know, and sometimes we don't even find resolutions for those conversations,
Right. Yeah.
and then we just continue down this path and this spiral, and like we're just like, what do we do now?
Mhm. Mhm.
So,
What if in your self-awareness you realize that like, okay, I'm a really shitty person, right? Like I
mhm,
don't want to be this way. Like I like this is who I'm realizing I am, and I don't like who I am, right? So
mhm,
how do you then make the steps, or what would then be the steps to figuring out like who it is that you want to become and working towards those goals of
mhm,
basically doing a complete 180 of who you are because you don't like
mhm,
it? Like, what does that journey look like of basically becoming somebody new?
mhm. I think identifying who you want to be is the
Mhm.
biggest thing, right? Identifying the person that you want to emulate is the biggest thing. Um, because you can't get to somewhere. This is crazy, but like you can't get to somewhere if you don't know the destination. So if you
Mhm.
don't know what it is that you want to change about yourself or what it is that you would like, and I wouldn't say change, I would say improve.
Mhm.
If you don't know what you want to improve on, then it's going to be really hard to improve on it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
Like, for instance, For me, it was like the emotional awareness that was like a really big thing for me. It still kind of is, you know, as you can tell.
Mhm.
Um, I I had to like be honest with myself and have those like moments of like right now, and literally it was like right now I feel sad.
Mhm.
I know that I'm sad.
Mhm.
How am I going to fix the sadness?
Mhm.
What can I do?
Mhm.
Right? Being able to label it and then having that experience I think was really helpful for me because I knew that that was something that I wanted to work on. I knew that I
Mhm.
had to be able to identify my emotions
Mhm.
and work through them. So I think understanding what it is that you want to work on is the biggest thing.
Mhm.
And I wouldn't want, I don't think, how can I say this? If you're going to therapy and you're working on your self awareness,
Mhm.
I think the biggest thing is that you have to also be kind to yourself, right?
Mhm.
In this process, you're going to reopen a lot of things, right? That
Mhm.
could very possibly be hard and a difficult conversation. So
Mhm.
the biggest thing is being kind to yourself and allowing yourself that space and not saying like, oh, I'm a shitty person or like, oh, I'm horrible or all of this. I think you
Mhm.
have to be like, you have to change that mindset and kind of be like, hey, this is where I'm at, but I know that I can be better. So
Mhm.
I'm going to work towards being better.
Okay.
Hmm.
And what if, you went through this journey of self-awareness, you know who you are, you know who you want to be, right?
Hmm.
And you start working on becoming who you want to be and then realize that you're kind of in a bad environment that is not supporting you becoming who you want to be, right?
Hmm.
How do you still push through? Is there a level where like the answer is to remove yourself from your environment, but like what if your environment's your family? Like how do you combat like I am changing, the environment that I am in is
Hmm.
not changing with me, but it's not really something that I can easily just walk away from.
Hmm. Hmm. Um, I think this is a complicated situation,
Mhm.
right? Just because if it's your family, right, you can't just get up and walk away.
Right.
But what
Mhm.
you can do is you can set expectations for yourself and how you yourself will react to their behaviors, right?
Okay.
Um, um, because there are like moments
Mhm.
where you can't really, like, let's say you can't live on your own and so you
Mhm.
have to live at home with your parents, right? Let's say
Mhm.
you're 13, 14, you're underage, right? And you can just go rent an apartment. You're 12, you're
Right.
13, whatever, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
um there's a way that you protect your peace, right? um where you kind of walk away. Now granted, this is like not an abusive situation.
Right.
I think if there was abuse in the home, then you should try to leave the environment.
Mhm.
Whether it's substance abuse, physical, sexual, whatever.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, it's not substance abuse, it's substance use, something like that.
Is it?
Yeah. Anyways, um, those are certain things that do get a little bit harder to kind of work through,
Mhm.
and those situations require a specific type of attention and a specific
Mhm.
type of engagement.
Mhm.
But if it's like you don't like the way that your mom or dad talk shit about you, or you don't like the things that your mom or dad says, or you don't like their values or whatever,
Uh-huh.
right?
Mhm.
And like it's a normal home,
Mhm.
um, you just you isolate or you
Mhm.
walk away, you disengage, you know?
Mhm.
If you see that people are becoming combative in your home, you sorry, I saw a hummingbird. Um you
I didn't even notice you
you
did
you
anything, so
disengage, right?
mhm.
Uh
I didn't even notice that you like got caught with something.
sorry.
No, you're good.
Um But yeah, like it's like right here, and it's sorry.
You're fine. Do you like hummingbirds a
Um,
lot?
hummingbirds are representative of
Oh,
people.
okay. Got you.
Mhm,
They're just saying hi.
mhm. Um, what was I saying? Oh
you
yeah,
know.
you disengage.
Yeah.
You protect your peace,
Mhm.
and I think that comes with self awareness, right?
Mhm.
Right.
What if I'm like scared, not like just a generic I'm like, right? What if like I'm like I am scared of discovering these parts of me that like I'm not ready to face. Like I know that there's parts of
Mm-hmm.
me that like I need to change, but I'm not ready to be able to say like I am a piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like I don't even know what the question is. Not
I don't
me.
think that I. First of all, I wasn't isolating you, homie.
I was
Jesus.
saying I feel like there might be the situations where people aren't yet ready to self-reflect, right? Like
A
I'm
hundred
not
percent.
yet ready to face this, which it goes into what I asked you earlier about like what might cause people to not self-reflect, right? And like I had
Mm-hmm.
looked up some stuff that you kind of hit on, which they were all the fear of being vulnerable, fear that the reality is going to change, fear of the truth,
Mm-hmm.
fear of being wrong, and it's all a fear, you know what I mean? um so it all does kind of tie down to like this is another thing where like there is going to be fear doing it, but if you want
Mm-hmm.
to like become a better person, if you want to improve, like you said, not change, improve who you are and stuff like that, like it's stuff that you have to pull up
Yeah.
and do, even though like it might cause you to realize some stuff about you that you didn't even know was there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
A hundred
it's
percent.
a very interesting topic because I feel like it's definitely something that I need to work on, because like I don't know if there's like specific, well, I was going to say I don't know if there's specific questions that I can ask myself, but it goes back to like what are your values, right? And like stuff like that. But see, I would worry that if I ask myself what are my values, it's kind of like what you said at the beginning where it's the generic stuff, right? My family, like what are my values?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's something I have to discover
What do you
myself.
value in your family?
The fact that
What
we're
about your family is valuable?
right. Just the fact that we can always be honest with each other. That like there's
Okay, so that's
no,
one.
yeah, there's no judgment. Um, yeah,
Honesty,
honesty and no judgment.
non-judgmental.
Yeah.
Okay. What else do you value? And this is the thing, right? In my space of
Mhm.
19, Samantha,
Mhm.
and she was identifying her values, right? It's having those generic things, right? Oh, my
Right.
family, my job,
Right.
my
Right.
this, my
Right.
that, blah, blah, blah,
My buddy,
right?
my crap. Mhm.
Um, but then digging deeper, right, was something that I learned there. Okay, so what about these things is it that you value? What makes these things or these people or whatever so valuable, right?
Mhm.
So important. And then identifying those things and being like, this is something that I see in all of
A
my
pattern.
relationships, in all
Yeah.
of my pieces, right? Okay, so this is a core value, right? It's
Mhm.
not that I value these people, it's the space that they give me to be whatever, right?
Right, because your friend could end up giving you the same things that your family does, but they're not family.
That my
Like,
family, yes,
okay,
yes.
okay, I
Hmm.
got you. Do you feel
And
like
that's
self?
something that you
Go
can
ahead.
do. Sorry,
Hmm.
that's something that you can do through journaling, right?
Hmm.
It's being like, okay, what do I value? and then writing them down. Okay, and then pyramiding it,
Mhm.
pyramid, triangulating it, and being like, okay, um, this person or this space allows me to
Mhm.
do this and
Mhm.
this and this, right? And then okay, so this is something that I see. And then move on to the next one. Oh,
Mhm.
like you would say your wife, right? And then you would say your family. I think that those are separate people,
Mhm.
not just in general,
No, yeah,
not
yeah,
just for you, but like in general,
yeah.
right? I think
Mhm.
my partner should
Mhm.
give me something that my family doesn't, right? There's a
Mhm.
different space.
Mhm.
Um, and so like putting my family and writing down the things that they provide for me, right? Or what makes them invaluable to me,
Mhm.
circling down those bottom things.
Okay.
Okay, what about work? Da 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 da. And breaking down those things and then seeing like this is, oh, I see that I have honesty in all these spaces. Honesty is important to me.
Right.
Oh, I feel like consistency is in all my relationships or all of my things that I value. This is important to me.
Mhm.
And then be that's a way that you can use to like identify them
Mhm.
where you're not in a therapeutic setting.
Mhm. And so, do you feel like self awareness and self reflection are two things that go together? Do you feel like you can self reflect if you're not self aware? Is being self aware self reflecting? Like, what's the relationship
I
between those
think
two?
I think you can always reflect on something.
Mm
But I think if you're identifying things within that situation,
hmm. Mm hmm.
then you're self reflecting, and that's when it goes hand in hand with self awareness. But
Okay.
if you're just like, today was crazy, it was so wild, I wonder what happened.
mm
Like
hmm.
you're reflecting,
Uh huh.
but you're not identifying anything, right?
Points.
If you're
Yeah.
like, oh, today was crazy, I was feeling very overwhelmed
Yeah.
when Papita fucking said this about me, whatever,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then being like, oh, but then I was really happy when Marcos was like laughing and like making jokes
Uh
about
huh.
Papita because yada yada, whatever, right?
Wow.
You get me?
Toxic work environment. Yes. Yes. This
Who
just
said
be
it was
saying.
work?
It just seems like work is where the drama is.
Listen, not to talk smack about my job, but I'm the youngest one there,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all like committed and like
What do you
married
mean?
and have
Oh,
kids.
okay, okay.
Like,
Committed relationships.
so there's no drama. There's
Oh,
no drama.
there might
It's,
be.
yeah.
There might
And we're
be.
all females and there's no drama, which I'm like, huh,
Hmm.
shock.
You know, this is really random, but I feel like it's one of the things I love about because where I work, it's just me and two other managers, right? One other manager that's my same position, and then our boss, right? And
Hmm.
they're both men, right? And I just feel like I love working with them because there's not that like weird toxicity that comes with like I don't know. Typically, when women are working together, it's like a little bit more toxicity, and I just really love like working with them and like always just being able to talk shit with them, and it's just very funny. But anyways, see, I just self reflected as to like part of why I really like my job. It's who I work with.
Good
um.
for
Okay,
you.
my take from this is that I really want to work on discovering who I am, right? And pinpointing kind of who I want to be in the future, right? And being able to
Hmm.
connect those dots between like, okay, right now in my emotional awareness, whatever it is, being I'm like this, and I want to end up being like this. So like I need to work on XYZ to get there, right? Because I do feel like I'm kind of not really entering, but like kind of starting to feel like I want to really think about not just oh what job I want to have in the future, but like who I want to be in the future, right? And being able to transition into that, you know what I mean? Like we're both about to hit our 30s next year, right? Next year,
Ew.
next year, right?
Ew.
And
Ew.
and just personally for me, and this ties into like just the weight loss in general, I think it would be
Mhm.
like incredible to enter this new decade of life like just in a different headspace, like just different than
Mhm.
who I've always been, right? And it's not that like I'm
Mhm.
changing everything about who I am, it's that I've been able to change these things for the better and they no longer bite me in the ass, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So like I'm like very like interested in being able to in my 30s be like this different woman, right?
Person.
Um
Mhm.
but yeah, so I know there's things that I want to start doing, and hopefully you guys heard some tips and tricks or just think more about trying to be self-aware, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
I think it's definitely not just a, oh, I'm gonna write this down today and that's it. Like it's, I feel like it's a long process to
It is.
really, yeah, really dissect every part of you that you want to be self-aware about. um
Mhm.
but I think it must be like a very like really good feeling whenever you realize who you are and how you're going to
Mhm.
align that with the actions that you're going to take in life, and where you're going to end up. And I'm really excited to be able to, we're talking about self-reflect in like a year or two and see like, damn, like I was able to change this and this and this, and like look at me now on top of the world.
Mhm.
um but yeah, is there anything that you want to say, tie into, leave as a point on self awareness?
I think it's more so of like the benefits of being self-aware. You do become more secure in like the decisions that you make. I
Okay.
think that's a big thing that we didn't really discuss.
Mm-hmm. Like less confused on what you want to do.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's absolutely true.
Yeah. And it definitely it's a process and it's not linear, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
not like we're just gonna keep going up. No,
Right.
no, 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 no. We're gonna go up and then we're gonna go down and then we're gonna
Right.
go up and we're gonna go left and we're gonna go right
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not linear.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that shouldn't discourage you for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely ongoing
Mm-hmm.
for
Absolutely.
sure.
That's the really cool thing about life is that like you just keep going, until you die, but you just keep going.
Very morbid. Oh my god.
It's true though, and I think
It
about
was
that.
like
What?
I was talking to this person and they were basically just like talking about like, oh, everything is fixable or changeable or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were like, except death. And I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, that's real dark.
It's not
Like I get
dark.
it,
It's true.
but
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then you were like, you just keep going until one day you die.
You
And I'm just
can't you can't go anymore.
like,
Yeah. But that's part of like I think about that, not so much about the whole like, oh, once you're dead, right? Obviously, right? But about the whole like, okay, I'm 28 right now, right? I
mhm,
have like if I didn't do this when I was 28, I have the chance to do it when I'm 29, when I'm 35, when I'm 40, when I'm 50, you know what I mean? Like so like I'm also a big believer in that like you can't, just because you don't have it now doesn't mean you won't have it in the future. And also the
that's true.
fact that like we're still, even though we're creeping on our 30s, we're still pretty young. Like there's still a lot of
Can
time
you
to
stop saying that we're creeping on
no,
our 30s?
because there's nothing bad about it. It's kind of crazy. But
It is crazy, but also like
wait, you need
super.
to, why you need to be share with me, self reflect, and tell me your self awareness thing about why you don't want to admit that you're creeping up on your 30s.
It's not that I don't want to admit it. I just it's so crazy. I don't know. Just to like think about like my 20s as
Mhm.
a whole
Mhm.
and like that whole process, it was wild,
Did it?
wild, and like to sit there and think about what could happen in my 30s is
Mhm.
crazy.
I mean, endless. There's no way. How do you even sit and think about what can happen in your 30s when literally anything could happen?
I'm just
Like,
like in being reflective of what happened in my 20s and
mm,
the growth and the change and the loss, the excitement,
The gains.
the achievements, like what?
I said the gains. You said the loss. I'm sure you've gained a few stuff in your 20s as well.
Yeah,
Hmm.
pounds, a lot of pounds.
You're so stupid.
My 30s is dedicated to losing them.
Oh, you don't need a decade. You could totally do it by the time you hit 30. But
We'll see.
yeah.
Um, no, but yes, a lot of
Hmm.
gains, a lot of achievements. And I think that's just where it is. Like just reflecting on all of that and then seeing
Hmm.
like the possibility of the future is
It's exciting.
it is
It's exciting to think
scary,
like I'm about to
but
enter
exciting.
this whole new era, right?
Yeah.
And I have no idea what it's gonna look like. You obviously have the things that you want to be able to stay consistent. Like nobody wants to lose like family members. You want to be able to like improve certain things. But when I think about when I was 20 to where I am now, like obviously it's stuff that you didn't know was gonna happen. So knowing that, right, reflecting on the 20s, and then knowing that like the 30s can multiply those things so much more, it's like I have no idea where I'll be. Look, when we
Mhm.
record this episode in 10 years and we reflect on our 30s.
To our 40s? OMG.
uh but okay, so this is something that my wife and I talk about sometimes, because like we want to
Hi,
be able
Gabby.
to. Hi, Gabby. We want to be able to like buy a bigger house, right, and
Hmm.
whatnot. And so sometimes like I said, I'm a lot more with like, dude, it's gonna happen. Like, let's take our time, let's build up to it. It's going to happen, right? Because
Hmm.
we think about like where our parents are, right? And she has
Hmm.
to stop herself and remember that our parents are in their 50s, right?
Hmm.
And like my parents didn't buy the house that they're at until they were like in their 5, 6, would be 2000 and like 2 or 3, let's say 2004, okay, until they were like in their late 30s, all
Hmm.
right? So like we're like, dude, you
Hmm.
have 10 years, like you already started off more than what they had at this age, right? Like there's no
Yeah.
telling where you're going to
Hmm.
be in 10 years, right? Like let the time
And yeah.
pass, work towards
Hmm.
it, because at the age of 38 they were able to buy like this house. Look at what you were able to do at the age of 38, right? So it's always like exciting to know that like things will happen, but it's also like
Hmm.
stop worrying so much about what's gonna happen and let time, pass. Which this doesn't really tie
Interesting.
into self-awareness, but
It does though, because you're reflecting, and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
Gabby Gabby being able to recognize like, yo, I gotta pump the brakes is
Mhm.
self-reflection and it's
Mhm.
self-awareness.
Mhm. Absolutely.
So
Well, thank you guys so much
definitely.
for listening.
Appreciate y'all.
We're gonna jump into our what dreamer of the day segment.
Woo!
Do you want to go?
Sure.
Okay.
I think I have it here. Um, he was born. He right?
What?
Yeah. Born June 15th, 1999. Mexican. Um, part Lebanese. He released first his first album, A y Que. Second album was Efectos, Secundarios. And then he performed at Coachella in 2023. Is this Karin Leon, Peso Pluma, or Christian Nodal?
Is it Peso Pluma?
It's Peso Pluma.
I swear we've done him already. Look,
No, we haven't.
so why did he do that transition?
What transition?
Like, did he fully change his look, or was
Oof,
that just
because
for a
he
photo
just
shoot?
he wanted to be hotter.
Look, don't get me wrong. I do think he looks hotter, but I feel like it makes him look less único. Like I feel like he went with
And
like
I
the
think,
traditional like sexy looking guy when he had his own look. You know what I mean? But go
but
ahead.
I think he was tired of his look. He
Okay.
he he had that look since he was, I don't know how old, but like
Mhm.
ever since he popped off, right? And now he's like, nah, we're in a different era.
We're in
He performed at
adulthood.
Coachella. He headlined
Mhm.
at Coachella
Mhm.
this year. Okay?
Baya.
Like, you know, you just you gotta elevate yourself.
Yeah. No, I do think his look is elevated. I was just saying it looks more like more normal, like just extremely handsome guy. You know what I mean? Good for
Mm,
him though. That's the type
yeah.
of change I'm trying to look in my 30s. You know what I mean? I'm trying to go from this to like, damn, mommy. You know what I mean?
Damn.
That's the reaction I'm trying to get in the streets. Okay,
Gabby
but
gonna have to fight off some people or what?
no, she won't have to fight off anybody. I tell her this all the time. Not all the time. I don't tell her this all the time. But like I've never been somebody that has like been like flirted with like in public and whatnot, right? So I'm like, yes, I'm married, but that doesn't mean that I wouldn't smile at somebody freaking flirting with me. I'm
But
sorry.
like,
I'm married. I'm married. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? But like I still want you to try to like get me. You just aren't gonna get me. You know what I mean? I want to be flirted with. I feel like that's a cute, like, little emotional booster. Like, hey, like, like, look,
I I think it's creepy when a stranger does it.
tries to
But
flirt with
like if
you.
I'm talking to somebody and then they like um I've had it done where like we leave like our date and then
Uh
they pull
huh.
up next to me and then they give me like a little like wink and I can't wink, guys, so that's why I'm not gonna wink, but like a little winky wink and I'm just like,
Like
ah,
somebody you
you know?
just went on a date with,
Or
like somebody that you went on a date with, or like you said they're not a
yeah,
stranger, so somebody you know,
yeah. Or like
and
even in
y'all are
like
leaving and they
previous
wink.
relationships.
Uh huh.
Huh?
And y'all were leaving a date and they wink at you.
Yes, but like we're driving away, so we're both at red
Oh,
lights and then they like,
wow.
and I'm just like, oh
What a movie
my god.
scene.
I've also had it done where we're at a bar or whatever, and then they come up
Mm-hmm.
behind me and they're like, "Hey, you look really cute," and I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
"Stop," you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
it's
got you.
creepy when a stranger does it. Not a vibe.
Mm, okay.
Just have Gabby like,
Gabby, start flirting with me.
yes. Listen, that's what keeps us spicy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure you guys follow
Sorry,
us
guys.
at Aquí Soñamos. We need to get more guests on episodes so we can talk about people's lives. Um,
And not our own.
but not Sam's. I already talked about mine.
Huh?
You said and not our own. Okay, okay, okay. But anyways,
Awkward.
follow us, leave us a 5-star rating, you know what I mean? Um,
Like, comment, subscribe.
like, comment, subscribe. It's so nice to have you guys still on this journey with us, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.